Our cover story tonight, a trade war looms on the world. US President Donald Trump set out to fix the trade deficit with China. He's triggered a war of sorts instead. He spooked global markets. India's Sensex closed in the red today, registering a fall of more than 400 points. Asian markets also nosedived, the Shanghai index tumbling by more than 3%. Japan's Nikkei fell more than 4% in today's trade. The big question in India is this. When the world's biggest economies, China and the US, fight, how will it hurt us and how much? Does Donald Trump plan to take this beyond China? Which other countries could he target next? Last month, remember, he gave some clues when he raised the issue of high import duty on American goods in India.
Scott Walker has a wonderful company called Harley Davidson in Wisconsin, right? Great. So when they send a motorcycle to India, as an example, they have to pay 100% tax, 100%. Now, the Prime Minister, who I think is a fantastic man, called me the other day. He said, we are lowering it to 50%. I said, okay, but so far we're getting nothing. So we get nothing, he gets 50, and they think we're doing, like they're doing us a favor. That's not a favor. And you know what I'm talking about.
That's what he said a month back. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry, Suresh Prabhu, has expressed concern over unilateral trade action by America. He was speaking after a two-day informal meeting of World Trade Organization members. Remember, this matter has gone to the WTO. The Indian minister said that unilateral trade actions by certain countries could harm everyone in the long run. The Indian government has been concerned about the rise of protectionism around the world. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi even raised this issue at the World Economic Forum in Davos this year. So we return to the question we asked. How much trouble does this spell for India? First of all, this is bad news when it comes to market sentiment. You've seen the impact on the Lal Street. Second, trade wars make currencies volatile. India should be prepared for the chaos on that front. Third, this may push up crude oil prices, which in turn will increase India's fuel bill, not to mention the higher cost of imports. Fourth, the US central bank is raising interest rates, and that has spooked investors. So some of the money coming to India may also dry up. But beyond that, very little will change for you and me. Remember, China is America's biggest trading partner. It accounts for more than 16% of its trade deficit. India doesn't even figure in the top 5. At 1.9%, India is the 9th largest trading partner of America. That's not a very big number. India's trade surplus of almost $23 billion is minuscule compared to China's $375 billion. So when President Donald Trump makes a lot of noise, he may not really target India directly. But what about other countries? Is a trade war now imminent? Is world trade going down the tube? Much depends on how China responds. While both sides are pulling no punches when it comes to the rhetoric, the buzz is that Donald Trump has left open sufficient window to negotiate a resolution with the Chinese.
World headlines screaming trade war may be quite off the mark. The general view is that Donald Trump imposing tariffs on 1,300 products imported from China may be no more than a slap on Beijing's wrist. In fact, many believe it will do little to get China to change its trade policies. But first, let's take a quick look at what Trump has announced. 25% tariffs on 1,300 China-made products. These products are across information, communications, aerospace, and machinery industries. Total value of the tariffs is from $60 billion to $50 billion.
It's important to recognize that there has been a growing sense of frustration within the business community about the lack of progress on market access openings and China's increasing use of industrial policies. In other words, there are reasons and a desire on the part of the business community to see a tougher approach taken by the U.S. government with China. However, our members are not in favor of using sweeping tariffs to try to address these issues.
The U.S. has accused China of theft of its intellectual property, which the Wall Street Journal in a recent report valued at $600 billion annually. The U.S. believes theft of intellectual property has enabled China to compete with American firms in high-tech areas. China denies this, saying its technology is homegrown. Trump's trade representative has threatened the use of Section 301 of the U.S. Trade Act, which authorizes a range of actions including retaliation to end any unfair or discriminatory trade measure by foreign governments. But no action of any kind is imminent, going by the strategy unveiled by the U.S. government. China's technology licensing practices will be taken to the World Trade Organization. The WTO normally takes years to resolve issues. The US government will closely scrutinize Chinese investment aimed at getting American technology. New investment restrictions will have to be framed, but no time frame or deadlines has been set.
Somebody imposes a trade war on us, we'll fight to the end. As for the overall China-US relationship, we always believe that the right approach is to base ourselves on better mutual respect and expand our cooperation, manage possible differences in a constructive way, and achieve win-win outcome. We still follow this approach, and we hope there will be reciprocity on the US side.
For the record, China has already announced it could impose $3 billion in tariffs on 128 US-made products, including pork, wine, fruits, and steel. It has also hinted tariffs could be imposed on the $14 billion trade, potentially hitting American farmers who form a major Trump voting base. There are also indications China could hit imports of American-made textiles.
中国不希望发生贸易战，也不会主动挑起贸易战。
China does not want a trade war and will not proactively provoke a trade war. But we are not afraid of and will not hide from a trade war. We are well prepared for Section 301 probe. We will firmly safeguard China's legitimate rights and interests. We will closely monitor related developments of the Section 301 probe, and China will respond once the US implements related measures.
China's response has been muted, suggesting it does not want to do anything now that could further rattle world trade. Worldwide, there are concerns Trump's actions could erode business investor confidence, which at some point will hit the stock market, eroding consumer confidence. There could be worse to come if China does not budge from the way it does business. Bureau Report, WION.